All right, I will call this meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes of the meeting on April 9th? Anyone have any changes?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the April 9th, 2018 meeting. Okay, the approval of the general fund vouchers 75596 through 75620 and wire transfers 171-80458 through 171-80485. I would entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to approve the general fund vouchers. Next, public comments on the agenda. Don't see any. All right, spotlight on education.
Okay, so we have two things that we have on the spotlight of education, both within the choir department. So I'm going to hand it over to the Mrs. Bird to share. And first thing we have on there is the solo ensemble state qualifiers.
Yeah, so solo ensemble state qualifiers. We had 5 vocal events qualify for state solo ensemble this year and 3 instrumental events. Elizabeth Larson qualified to sing her alto solo and her musical theater solo. Joe Espeseth is going to be singing a bass solo, and Taylor Atkins is going to be singing a soprano solo and a musical theater solo. And that's at the UW Eau Claire, May 4th, 5th, Saturday.
For Saturday in May.
Yeah.
On the band side, we had Mason Kruger qualify with a trumpet solo. We had Brittany Avery and Nikki Katz qualify for the second year in a row on a marimba duet. And we also had a saxophone choir go, and there's 6 individuals in that, so all told 9 kids going down, so that's a pretty good number for us.
It's the most events we've had in a while, so pretty pleased with the kids.
9 kids, well congratulations and best of luck, guys.
Will they perform at any of the string concerts then?
Possibly.
It is my intention to give them the opportunity. I will not force anybody. Should they like to do that, yes.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
And the second thing we have on there is the choir state honors recipient.
Yes, Elizabeth Larson has qualified to be a part of the all-state treble choir, and this is the first time ever, as far as I'm aware, that we've had someone qualify for all-state choir. And so she went down and auditioned in February. We just found out a month or so ago that she qualified to be a part of the all-state choir, and so she'll get to go to like a camp for a week this summer and rehearse with kids from all around the state. And then in October at the Wisconsin Music Teachers Convention, they perform a concert for all the teachers and anybody who wants to attend. So it's a pretty big honor, and we're pretty excited.
Well, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Very cool.
I can just say that those groups
They're
perform
phenomenal.
at a very professional
Yeah.
level. Aside from maybe the maturity of their voices, you'd have a very hard time telling them from a professional group.
Very cool.
Just about any
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but when did you say that performance was?
It's in the last weekend in October down in Madison.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah. And good luck.
Okay, new business. Discussion review of food service program.
Okay, so this one I'm going to pass over to Mrs. Kobernick to share on the overall food service program.
I guess I'm just gonna see if you have any questions.
Thanks for coming in, guys.
I have a breakfast meal pattern, a lunch meal pattern that I gave each of you. And if you have any questions about anything, there's been a lot of changes, you know, since President Obama had signed in the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act. There's been some changes, and there's constantly changes and more changes.
So there's the two colored forms are just, Mrs. Coburnack brought those in today, and then there's also some print-offs within your board packet as well. The colored ones, I believe, Mrs. Coburnack helped me out, but I think these are specific to Clear Lake? Or no, they're not.
They're not specific to Clear Lake. That's
Just the state?
The guidelines, yeah.
Okay.
The federal guidelines for breakfast meal pattern and the lunch meal pattern. Does anyone have any questions?
Has it changed back? No, some since Obama.
Thank you, Mrs. Bird.
That's a good question, Betty. So some things, you probably heard in the media that they have more flexibility now. That happened like in May last year. But you have to file for exemptions for everything. You have to prove that it's a hardship. That's like the grains, the milk. Like if we want to offer flavored 1% milk, we have to file for an exemption at this point. That's what they're saying. And actually with our CISA bid, I'm working on it, but trying to find out if we can even get the milk, the flavored 1%. Right now we use a True Blue, which is a flavored, it's a chocolate, fat-free, that was designed for schools to use. So. And sodium, right now they're holding the sodium the same. There was different targets to lower it, and they're leaving it with one. So that's good news, because it was pretty challenging to think about the future with sodium, the way they were with that. So.
Was there something different with the chocolate milk, or Mr. Peterson, or didn't we talk about it last week? Or so what is it? So you can't have that anymore, or
no? We can continue to have chocolate milk. Yeah,
okay.
And it hasn't changed. We've been using True Blue for probably about 6 years now.
oh, because it's I got it.
Yep.
What I was referring to was I think a long time ago, like way before I was here, about how there had been a food audit, and we used to not offer chocolate for meals, but the food auditors, interestingly enough, told the principal at the time, like, no, you should, because your consumption will go up, and it actually did.
Yeah, because I don't think we had it. We had you could have 2%, but not.
Yeah. So it's probably in the last 10 or 15 years, I would think, maybe. That's what I was referring to.
I'm trying to remember. So it's chocolate, skim, and 2% that kids can.
1%.
1%.
We can't do 2%.
So you can't move that. I think Greg was talking about, can we move it up so it's a more solid
You
type of
can't even
milk?
offer whole milk?
No, we cannot. Since the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act, we haven't been able to offer 2% or whole milk. No.
So that's still part of the law that we can't.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
still part of it. Yeah, as part of being through the National School Lunch and Breakfast Program. Yeah, we have to follow those guidelines when we sign the contract and get the federal funding, federal and state funding.
Do you know number-wise what we serve in each building for each of the meals? Approximately?
Yep, I have a spreadsheet here. So, like last year, we served, for lunch, we served 86,644 lunches to students.
Okay.
And breakfast, we served 36,466. Any other numbers you want? And we have to do a milk recipe twice a year for nutrition, for our nutrition guidelines, just to show like the percentage of kids that are taking chocolate versus 1% versus skim. So I just did that too, and our chocolate consumption is very high. So yeah, it's important to have it. I mean, if anyone ever asks you, the chocolate consumption is pretty high. So they like chocolate milk.
Were we able to do anything for summer school? There's not enough funding or whatever for that?
It's based on our free and reduced percent, and
Yeah.
we are actually lower than a lot of even schools in our area. We're like 39-40%. The reason that we qualified the one time was we had a junior high group, which is just the 2 grades, and we hit 50% just barely one time, and it was,
Enough for the 5 years.
yeah, and then we were good for 5 years, so that's why we did it for 5 years, and now we're not really even close, unfortunately, because it is a great program.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's why, so it's based on our free and reduced percent.
Those numbers were 2016, 17?
Those were, yep, 2016, 17, yep.
That's really good with that breakfast, I think. There's a lot of kids that don't get it. Like I went to a conference over at the school board convention and helps them learn a lot.
Yeah, well, a lot of them come to school and they're
They don't have any-
hungry. Yep, yep.
Yep.
A lot of studies for that, so.
Mine only come to eat breakfast in the morning because they don't eat at home because they want to eat breakfast at school.
Yep.
Especially
Apparently you
many
make really good
cities.
meals.
You should visit on those days, I'm telling you.
Yeah, unfortunately, we haven't had to raise breakfast prices, so that's a good thing, so it is a good value. So, or we feel it's a good value, or I feel it's a good value. So, yeah.
What percentage is that breakfast for like the high school, the elementary? You're just, roughly.
You're gonna know those better than I do.
The high school, a good day, we're in the 80s, we might hit 90s.
Huh.
Out of what, 280 kids?
Which is pretty good. There's a lot of choices. They can get milk, they can get juice, and they can get fruit, and then they can choose 2 things, and there's a lot to choose from. Some things they can double up. They can take 2 cereals, or
Mhm.
there's a lot to choose from here. The elementary, it's simpler because we have to have it simpler, but they still do the same thing: milk, juice, a fruit, and then 2 things, 2 components.
Can they take some of that stuff like to the classroom or no? Like juice or something or?
The perishables I wouldn't encourage, and it's kind of up to the administration. I'm not gonna, I'm sure there's high school students that might
As
put,
I think, I'm sure there's some
a
that take it
snack?
back with them.
We've looked at grab and go breakfast like between first and second hour or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just looking at other districts and what they're doing. That's an idea we're talking about. It's it depends on how we want to run the classroom and food and lockers, and it's a bigger thing than just having something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes spillage in lockers, spillage in
Yeah.
hallways and
Ants
classrooms. And now that we're putting a Chromebook in every
food.
kid's hand, do we really want a juice next to it? That kind of stuff to think about.
I took a look at the packet that you had sent out, Josh, and kind of started to fish through a little bit of some of the stuff that you need to comb through in order to make your menus and figure out how you're going to run this thing. Penny, hats off to you. It's pretty complicated. I think I would have had to have read it 10 times to get a gist of what's going on. But some of the questions that I had were, since the Obama administration's done, have your guidelines changed on the dietary guidelines that you have to go by?
They've been in place now 5 years, I believe. They've been in place, and they're not lowering the sodium anymore, but they've been in place. So, I don't think a lot's gonna change in the future. They still have the max on the calories, the mins and the max, and we have to follow those. So, yeah, it hasn't changed a lot. They're talking about, we have to have waivers and prove if we have hardships if we want to change the grains, at least at this point. It's hard to say. A lot of it's politics, I would ask.
But on your end, you haven't seen that you can change anything one way or the other?
No, what you see here like this is what we have to follow, because this is federal. Right. Yeah, so we have to follow that.
Okay.
So,
Another question that I had was on the milk. So does that mean we can't have 2% or whole milk still?
no, you have to follow this under F. So you have to apply for a waiver and prove that you have a hardship. And that's just to do the flavored 1%. And I did talk to CISA because that's who we ever been through. And they're trying to work with Dean Steve and see if it's possible. And then you have to keep in mind that it has to fit nutritionally too. And I don't know what the calorie difference is, because right now they don't supply it. So, but you have to also apply for their waiver, so, and prove we have a hardship.
Yeah, and forgive me, I'm a dairy farmer, so I'm trying to make milk drinkers out of these generations that we have going
I
through
did offer to
here.
bring milk. Have you tried the True Move? Have you ever tried it?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay.
It's delicious.
It is.
But they used to have whole milk and 2%, right?
Yes,
Yes.
we did, yep. This is my 8th year here. My first year here, there was whole milk. Yep. And then we had 2% until they wouldn't allow us to.
Huh.
Yeah.
So I concur with Greg. You think, meals are easy, but I mean, obviously
Yeah.
there's tons of guidelines and everything you need to follow, so thank you.
Can I ask a couple more questions, Penny? Forgive me. Waste, what are we doing about waste?
Biggest thing that I would encourage is just educating the students that there's offer versus serve, because especially at the elementary, I see a little bit of it here, but they need to understand they don't have to take everything. We have what we call offer versus serve, and that, I think Mr. Ernst sent it out to you, and that's something that I wrote up, but that's based on the guidelines too, and they don't have to take everything. Like for lunch, if they took a chicken sandwich and a half a cup of fruit, that's all they need. They don't have to take milk. So when they, but we also want them to try things, and that's like when we have the garden bar, it's self-serve. It's like, because then if they want to just take 2 carrot sticks, they can. You don't have a lunch lady just flopping a half a cup of carrots on their tray. So we encourage them to try new things. But yes, it's just, part of it is educating them that they don't have to take everything. So that would be what the waste, I have a PowerPoint that USDA has on their site, and it talks about waste from way back. It's always been an issue.
Mm-hmm.
But educating them, I think, is the biggest thing.
Are you talking about reusing the waste, or are you talking about?
I went and ate with the
less?
kids a couple of times, and that garbage thing is like so full of good food that just gets thrown away. It just,
It frustrates me too when I go down and do lunch numbers for them too, the amount of stuff, just the high school kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them are really good, and their trays are clean, and some of them, they take way more than they.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot worse at the elementary, I would think too.
Yeah. So.
And then the last question I had was on preservatives. Do you take a look at preservatives?
Yes, and everything is getting cleaner. That's one thing that has changed a lot in the last year, and they're really, when you go to food shows, a lot of more clean labels. Yeah, that's one thing that they're really working on, manufacturers making clean labels. So, we're moving in the right direction there, definitely.
Do you guys still serve turkey and biscuits periodically?
Yeah. So for lunch, there's a 5-week cycle menu, so there's 25 lunch menus. So if you ever wonder how does she do, if you don't have a cycle menu, it's really hard to do this. And then breakfast, we have a 4-week cycle menu. So that's why it doesn't always line up. Maybe you're like, well, how did that come with that menu? But yeah. And we move them around in the week, depending on certain things, but we try to keep the same things because we have to have a couple of legumes every week. We have to offer that. So we don't want to flip it. We want to keep it in the same week in that cycle. So yeah, we have turkey gravy biscuit once every 5 weeks. And I don't skip that one very often.
You get an email when that comes out.
So you'd hear
That would
from
be
me if you
nice,
skipped
Lord.
that.
And we make homemade gravy, so it's good.
And then the last question that I had was, kids that can't pay for their lunches.
Uh-huh.
What do we do? What are them kids? How do we handle them?
From what I know about it, the elementary, I don't think anybody has been refused. Joy does an excellent job communicating with parents, and we're really lucky to not, and me and Lori could attest to this too, that we do really well with our budget and keeping, but she has to stay on top of it, because if they get too far in the negative, it's really hard to get. But we haven't not fed anyone at the elementary, at least I know in the last 3 or 4 years that I know of. And the high school too, I mean, we try to help them the best we can. We're not like taking trays and dumping trays. Joy communicates with them.
Joy does a nice job communicating to the families. And then we also created a committee, because there were some donations from community members, so we have an account now for any, we have a criteria set up for families in a hardship, which we've used. I think we've used that twice now to help pay, so that way the kids don't go hungry.
I think the other big thing too over the years is, encouraging families to fill out the free and reduced form.
Yep.
That's the biggest thing.
And we're at 40%, you said, Penny?
Just barely, I think.
Just-
Yeah, it's like 39 point something. It depends on which building you're at too. And when we look at everything, it's 3 sites: the elementary, junior high, high school.
Do we need to educate the parents a little bit about the criterion in order to increase our free and reduced lunch? Or are we too far away to put effort into
We
it?
talked about it a couple of meetings ago, that we have a letter that's going to be sent out now yearly, just describing what, when families sign up for that, how that impacts the district, and what type of funding we receive from it.
We should try to have everyone fill it out if we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try.
Well, I think
The
we
worst
talked
you can
about
do is
the
try to
elementary
check
program. It
them.
helps to have them, when we do that check-in day, you're getting a
Open
lot
house.
more
Right.
back. So, I mean, that's only
Right.
1 year in, but that's getting more
Yeah.
paperwork done. So hopefully that
Certainly
just
could
continues.
be a lot more if it's in everyone's
Yep.
bin or whatever.
Can I
That's
just
all.
say something about, I just want to, Penny and I have talked about this before too, but just a compliment, it was a lot of work. I remember I was new at the elementary school when a lot of the new regulations came in, and I remember how much work it was to meet those and gradually meet it. But one of the things that I've noticed is with the young kids is with all the increase in fresh vegetables and fruits that are offered over there, I see so many more kids trying different things.
Yes.
I mean, you see little kids, kindergartners, second graders going through, and they're taking radishes and fresh broccoli and cauliflower and stuff like that. And it's really exposure, because the kids are, what is this? That's broccoli. Never seen it before. And they try it and they like it, and then I just see young kids eating a lot more fresh vegetables and healthy food. So I know it's been a lot of work for the food staff, but I also do see a lot of positive benefits for the kids eating healthier food and more fruits and veggies. So it's neat to see.
Yep, and they have found that it's increased a lot since the Healthy Hungry. So there's definitely good things that have come from it. Definitely. The fruits and vegetable consumption has gone up, so.
Yeah, don't think for a second we don't appreciate the effort that you've put in, Penny. Especially after looking at the website that you have to dive into to figure all this stuff out. So yeah, hats off to you and the rest of the staff.
Yes, that's very good staff.
Does anybody have any other questions for Penny? If you don't mind, Mr. Vice President, I'll move us forward.
Good, I screwed up the first 2 things anyhow.
So, is the next one in line approval of staff resignations and retirements?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so we have 2 retirements and 1 resignation. And Mr. Larson is here with us tonight. So we have the 2 retirements are Mrs. Blanchard, special ed teacher in the district. She's taught a total of 28 years. She's been in the district since 1990. She started out as a paraeducator and then moved into that special ed teaching role in 2007. So A big thank you to her for her years of service here with the Clear Lake District. She's going to be a huge loss to the district. She does a tremendous job with the formerly CD program, it's now ID program, the special ed students that have cognitive delays. Does a tremendous job in that program, but also what I've seen, just a tremendous job incorporating the reg ed students and kind of mixing those two programs and getting the involvement of the reg ed students into that classroom. It's not just a special ed classroom, it's just a classroom down there. So there's going to be some big shoes to fill, but a huge thank you for 28 years of her service with the district. And then we have Mr. Mike Larson, who's also been in the district for a while. He started in 1988, so a total of 30 years in the district. So also I'd like to thank him for his years of service in the district. Has done a great job with the band and music department down there, not only in the building but also outside of the building. The performances at not only our Clear Lake parade but the neighboring parades. His involvement at all of the athletic events that we've had and state tournaments and home games. So huge thank you to him for his years of service here in the Clear Lake District. So and then we also have one resignation, Dylan Kurtz, who's been in the district for 2 years as a support staff in the technology department. So I'd like to thank him as well. He started out as a student aide, and then we employed him once he graduated, and it's been with us for 2 years. So I'd like to thank him also for 2 years. So three great employees that we're losing this year, but my best of wishes to all three of them, to whatever the next chapter of life brings.
Thanks, Mike. 23 years.
Of lunch duty.
23 years of lunch duty. Not that I don't love the lunches, but that's enough.
So, do we want to read the letters? Okay, well, we'll start with Mr. Larson then. Dear board members, this is to inform you that effective July 1st, 2018, I will retire from my current position as instrumental music instructor in the Clear Lake School District. I want to take a moment to thank this district. For 30 years, you have allowed me to provide for myself and raise a family while doing a job I loved, teaching students about playing music. I still love teaching music. However, over the past few years, federal, state, and local policies and mandates have increasingly interfered with that job. More and more of my time has been spent fulfilling requirements that have little or no positive impact on actually teaching. While I still feel passionate about music education, I have decided it's time to step aside and leave that fight to someone younger with fewer battle scars. Again, I want to thank the district and the people of Clear Lake for their support. I am proud of the successes we've had, marching parades, supporting teams, playing concerts, taking trips, and most importantly, making music. I wish you all the best in the future. Sincerely, Michael Larson. So with that then, I will entertain a motion to approve Mr. Larson's
I will move to
retirement.
approve the retirement.
Do I hear a second?
Second. Excuse me, second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the retirement of Mr. Larson with many thanks for all the years of dedication. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And then we'll move on to Mrs. Blanchard's retirement letter. Dear Mr. Ernst and the Clear Lake School Board, it has been my privilege to work and teach in the Clear Lake School District for 28 years, but it is time for me to retire effective the end of this school year. I have worked with kindergarten through 21-year-olds and enjoyed it immensely. Sometimes I think I have learned more from the students and experiences than they have learned from me. I thank you all for the support over the years, going back to school, changing my hours. I always knew I was in a good place. I didn't go to school knowing I would ever get to work here, so it was a joy to be hired in my own community. I knew that I would need to make many community connections for my students to be successful and have great outcomes. It was the perfect fit for me. Students have been the joy of the job, whether my own, SNAP members, or on an Earth Day team. Clear Lake is full of wonderful administration, staff, and students. I'm willing to help you in any way to make the transition as smooth as possible. Please let me know if there's anything specific you would like me to do. I am not going anywhere, so I will be here to volunteer where needed to help Clear Lake, the community I've always loved and supported. Thank you for everything. Respectfully, Diane Blanchard. So with that, then, I will entertain a motion for Diane's resignation.
Of retirement.
Or retirement, sorry.
I will move to approve Diane's retirement.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the retirement of Mrs. Blanchard. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Greg, I'm sorry, is it okay if I say something about her? Having had 2 kids of my own in her program, we're so privileged. And you know, that SNAP program, you remember a couple of years ago when one of those SNAP kids took my son to prom? Do you remember that? You know, and I put a Facebook post on that. Do you know anything about that? I put a post on that 5 years ago. It'd be 5 years ago, probably today or tomorrow. It's been shared 800,000 times. And I have gotten messages from people in 97 countries. That's how effective, and I would say 200 of them, 300 of them would have been, how can I start a SNAP program in our school? So it's amazing, you know, one person's impact ripples, not just in our community, not just in our state, nation, literally across the world. If you name a country, I've probably gotten somebody from that.
Now, follow up by saying a program's only as good as the person implementing it. A program's just a program, but when you have the right person implementing it, it makes all the difference. And she's definitely done a tremendous job with that SNAP program.
Well, in that case, I'll entertain a motion to unretire Mrs. Blanchard. Next up is Dylan. Dear Mr. Ernst, I would like to inform you that I am resigning from the position as IT Technician Assistant for the School District of Clear Lake effective April 26, 2018. Thank you for the support and opportunities that you have provided me during the last 3.5 years. I truly enjoyed my time with the school district, and I am more grateful for the encouragement you have given me in pursuing my professional and personal goals. I have accepted an offer with Velocity Tech Solutions as a production technician in Roseville, Minnesota. If I can be of any assistance during this transition in order to facilitate a seamless passing of my responsibilities to my successor, please let me know. I would be glad to help however I can. Sincerely, Dylan Kurtz. I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to accept the resignation of Mr. Dylan Kurtz. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Then we'll move on to new business item C, discussion review of the 2018 summer school.
So this one wasn't, thanks Mr. Larson. This wasn't on the original board agenda that I sent out to you. It's kind of a last minute addition, but we got it on there, and so I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Peterson just for a review, kind of discussion review of where we're at with the summer school program for this summer, for 2018.
So we just wanted to keep people informed. So for this summer's 2018 summer school, we've had difficulty hiring enough staff, enough teaching staff, certified teaching staff. We have enough paras applying, but we've had a big reduction in the number of teachers that we've been able to hire. And so we start the process back in late January, posting it internally, talking to the teachers during the January in-service. Mrs. Weiss is here. She comes in and gives a few words usually, because Mrs. Weiss is summer school coordinator, and she does the brunt of the work, and we kind of tag team on that. So late January we posted it. We've posted in newspapers and online and things like that too. And for whatever reason, I shouldn't say whatever reason, a variety of reasons, we have fewer applicants. So we've had a delay in putting out the registration materials because we've been trying to try different things. Sometimes every year we have to, kind of coax it or remind a few people like, hey, the deadline, remember, you're still going to do it. Oh yeah, I forgot, So there was a little bit of that went on, and then we still were short. Mr. Ernst sent out an email reminder. I sent one out another week later saying, hey, we're still looking for people, and Mrs. Weiss sent out another kind of last-ditch email a week later. But anyway, typically, like last couple of years, we've had 17 teachers. And right now we're looking at 10, and actually we're able to add, so 11. And that's with pounding the pavement pretty hard to find, some people who are substitute teachers that work with us and have substitute license are willing to come in and teach, and trying to be pretty creative. And so we're getting to the point where we had to get registrations going, so we kind of Patty was very creative in the way that we were able to work out a way to reduce the number of grades that we're offering it to, but still offer a good program. So we made the decision to offer it through junior kindergarten through 4th grade. Instead of, it has typically been junior kindergarten through 8th grade, with really, 7th and 8th grade has really pretty minimal participation over the years, a handful of kids. 5th and 6th, still has a fair amount of kids. So it's kind of left us with sort of a sick feeling in our stomach last month or so trying to work through this. But we're just kind of at the point where we really don't feel like we have any other choice. So it tends to be that the younger grades tend to have a higher participation percentage. And so that was part of the reason for the decision to say, well, if we have to eliminate some classes, we'll do the 5th and 6th. And like I said, Mrs. Weiss has found a pretty creative way to have a good offering of classes. So the materials for registration are going to go out tomorrow. We're going to have a little quicker timeline to turn them back around and get them back in, about a week. But then we'll plan to go forward from there with it. So obviously, put our heads together and tried to do a lot of problem solving along the way, but we're just at the point where we don't have any more teachers. We really can't offer more than that. So kind of a variety of reasons in talking to people that have chosen not to teach this summer. Some of them are travel plans, of a handful of people that are kind of mainstays or have been really involved the last few years said, hey, I'll do it again, but got a couple, we're going to Japan, or someone else has a wedding, or someone else has a unique travel plan that they're doing this year. We've got a few others that have had babies in recent years, and so, thinking of last year and this year, a couple that have been doing it that are, got a new baby at home, so they're going to stay home in the summer. So it isn't really any one reason that you can pinpoint. I sort of feel like in discussions we talked about, I feel like we've kind of dodged this bullet a few times in the last 5 years, where we've had 2 or 3 of our mainstays kind of say, yeah, I'm kind of done, I'm not going to do it anymore. And then we've been fortunate to have 2 or 3 just kind of step in, whether it's a new couple teachers or a substitute or someone who says, yeah, I'll do it. And so it's always just kind of worked out, and I felt like we've been lucky. And I kind of worried that this might happen someday, and this was the year it seems like it happened, unfortunately. So going forward, we want to look at all options going forward and trying to be as creative as we can. If there are changes we need to make with the program or how we do things. We do a survey every year. We've always done a survey at the end with the faculty. And, would you say, Patty, positive responses? We never got the sense that there's any sort of, big level of dissatisfaction or anything like that. I don't feel free to chime in here if there's, but that's kind of where it's at. What questions do you have? I guess, do you have any?
What percentage of the 5th and 6th grade historically come?
I don't have it by percentage, but I do have the numbers from the last few years. Like last year we had 15 5th graders and 16 6th graders. The year before we had 21 and 17. So, it's still a fair amount of kids. You're talking 30 plus kids that are going to be potentially affected by that directly. So.
Do you have a max enrollment for summer school? Where if you didn't hit it, you'd open it up to those 5th and 6th graders possibly?
Yeah, we could do that. We try to gear the classes to grade bands of kids, and a lot of you have had your kids go through it, but so we kind of offer a first, second grade band, third, fourth grade band. So we've done that again. But yeah, if we have available space and we have older kids who are interested in jumping in with younger kids, I'd certainly be open to offering that.
Is it required to have licensed teachers?
Yeah,
Okay.
they need to have a teaching license. It can be a substitute license, but it just needs to be a teaching license. So,
Chris, have you guys thrown any solutions around?
oh yeah, I mean, as far as for this year or going forward?
Going forward.
Going forward, we've been more focused on this year right now, I guess. But I mean, I've got some ideas. I think we've all got some ideas. But I think once we get through the registration process and everything, I think then, yeah, we want to look at that for next year. I mean, we're certainly open to offering different ways to do the schedule or different ways to do the grades or, and look for suggestions, more suggestions from teachers.
Is it mostly elementary teachers, I'm guessing, or no?
No, it's kind of a mix. I mean, we have, I'd say it's a fairly even mix of junior, senior high teachers and elementary teachers who do it. It's mostly elementary kids who do it, or who attend. But we've got kind of, I'd say it's a pretty even mix. We've got a fair amount of teachers who are, not our regular staff, but again, they're subs or they have some other connection to the district and they have a license and they just kind of have made it their thing that they come every summer. And we've still got some of those people coming back for sure.
Chris, what are the numbers trends as far as registration for summer school over the last couple of years?
It was
down last year.
It was down last year. It kind of goes up and down. I mean, we've had as many as over 250 back in like 07, 8. Things kind of went down with the population, so we were down in the 230s, 220s. In like 10, 11, 12, 13, and then we had an increase, 14, 15, we're back up to 250. 2016, we're down in the 230s, and then last year we're down in 210 kids. So it's kind of gone up and down, based on student population and interest. I think, I was concerned last year with the lunch program not being there, if that would have a big impact. I didn't get a lot of feedback on that. I mean, we put it out there for parents so they knew it was not going to be there. I didn't have a lot of phone calls or questions or people, asking why aren't you doing that. I don't know what that means. So I don't know if that meant if that helped last year. I also know last year we have some of our smaller classes are in the lowest grades, and those tend to be high participation rate classes or grades. So that might be part of it too.
But there's not any kind of trend where we'd look at it and say, you're going to be lower because it's been lowering so that maybe you could increase those upper grades. It seems like it kind of bounces around a bit.
It kind of seems like it bounces around, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and we are sending home a letter to the 5th and 6th grade parents explaining that unfortunately this is what we're doing. So, and I anticipate some people are going to be disappointed in that. I'm disappointed in it. We all are. But I really don't know what else to do. We don't have any teachers. If we don't have more teachers, we can't do it. So, but I am hopeful for next year that it's hopefully kind of a blip on the radar, and we can keep doing everything to recruit.
So kids care offered in the summer then? Is
Yeah.
that an option then for the 5th grade kids?
To do like junior kindergarten or junior
Fifth.
warriors, the kids
Yeah.
care program. Yeah, that's open. It's typically been open to kids who are in summer school. She just offers it in the afternoon because
Just the afternoon?
yeah, it's for the kids who are in the morning.
So they're doing swimming lessons this year.
Yep, that's going to be. We're able for the first time to offer it during June.
Okay.
Other years it's been in July because of availability of pools and whether it's.
They're going in Richmond, or where are they going?
Yep. We've tried Turtle Lake and then we've gone in Richmond, and for whatever reason, they've been booked in June. Well, this year we can do it in June, so they're actually going to be able to go to swimming lessons in the afternoons during summer school, the first 2 weeks of summer school.
First 2 weeks of summer school?
That's
That'll be coming home in the registration materials too.
You must have emailed something. I saw it already.
People have been talking about it too. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the actual registration stuff will come out tomorrow.
Is there
Oh, no, it was from the junior warrior lady. That's his.
Oh, okay.
has there been any feedback from staff or asked about time of summer? Does it make a difference?
I don't know if I don't know if we specifically asked that. No.
I know it's easier to go right into it, but I'm just
Yeah.
wondering if that's easier also for people to make plans and.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different ways people do it. Some schools do a couple weeks in June and then come back a couple weeks in August.
Right.
I mean, I think we could consider everything.
Okay.
Just want to make sure you all knew what was going on as it goes out there.
Well, if we can help be part of the solution, just let us know what you need.
All right.
So if there's 4 or 5 teachers that randomly show up, could possibly still do it, or not?
Send them our way. I think Patty's pounded the pavement pretty
I was
hard.
at the point, if I got one more person to say yes, I think we could have done it.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, I have a
every
cousin
tree
that.
available to me. I contacted everybody on the sub list. I had nowhere else to go.
And we did look at, do we want to market more extensively too? But I mean, historically, most of our people who do it tend to be someone with a connection to the district. It's not like we put an ad in, some paper far away and we get all kinds of. It just usually doesn't happen. So it wasn't really seen as a great option or a great solution.
Well, until they let us start deputizing teachers, I guess we're just gonna have to go with what we got.
It's not too far
I was
away.
gonna say, it might not be too far.
I'll go back and get my license.
Careful.
All right.
Chris, can I just clarify with you before, because I'm gonna go put those materials in teachers' mailboxes. Do you want me to run off the 5th and 6th grade letters and get those in those teachers' boxes also?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, yeah.
Okay, anything else? Thank you, Patty. Then we'll move on to our discussion review of the April 16th board retreat.
Okay, just wanted to update the public that we had a board retreat on April 16th. Mr. Al Brown, contracted at WASB, came in and did a presentation. I thought it went really well. I think everyone was in agreement that it's very beneficial to have just kind of that open, honest conversation. He discussed some stuff on board governance, talked a little bit about admin contracts, specifically district administrator contract, talked about kind of where we want to head as a district as far as goals, kind of some of the goals that we talked about, haven't finalized it yet, but to develop some type of district-wide vision statement. Also to develop some type of orientation packet for new school board members. Third goal, attracting and retaining staff members. Kind of something that we're going to probably explore after all the policy work has been completed. And then the board, another goal we talked about is identify what data we're going to be, the board wants to look at in order to kind of be a data-driven board, and what that even means to be data-driven, kind of the new buzzword that's tossed around. But what does that actually mean to be a data-driven school board? And then lastly, I think I mentioned a little bit ago, but or maybe I didn't, but to develop a strategic plan moving forward, and that might also be something that we start exploring after the majority of the policy work has been completed. Did I miss anything, or?
No, I appreciated the protocols he used to walk us through that. He was really well organized and had a game plan that I thought. Sometimes you go to these things and it's like all over the place. He had a really strategic way of doing it that I appreciated.
Yep, I did too.
Yeah, the board retreats are pretty valuable, I think. We all agree. So hopefully we can get some more of those scheduled and develop our board to be strong in our knowledge of what we're supposed to be doing, and that'll help us help you guys, and then the students will feel it.
One last thing too, sorry to interrupt, Greg, but just kind of one takeaway I took too from it was all of the conversation, which I can appreciate, just in the last 3 years now, is I felt like the board retreat was very much student focused and how we're going to continue moving forward, and it was revolving around the students in the district and not necessarily the school board itself. So I appreciate that. I think we're very much headed in the right direction as a school board and as a district.
Part of that strategic plan that you mentioned, the vision is part of that strategic plan, Josh?
Yep.
Because we spent a lot of time on the fact that we don't really have a vision, so hoping that we can get that developed and see where we're going to go.
Yep.
Any other comments? Okay. And then we'll move on to the discussion review of our board vacancy.
Got me to do that, or do you want to?
Go ahead.
Okay. Just so everyone's kind of aware, the intent of putting this on the board agenda is just for all stakeholders to know kind of what discussions have been happening, and really more emails and then communication with myself and the attorneys over at WASB, because I'm just kind of working through this process. We have a board vacancy, an individual that won the election that has made a decision to apply for a position, which created a vacancy. So what we're doing, or what the school board has decided to do, is tomorrow we'll have a posting, Tuesday, April 24th, for that vacancy. It'll look very similar to, kind of almost any position in the district, but it'll have a little bit more of a agenda feel to it. It's the same format, but it's really just a posting for a position. Anyone interested would either email myself or Mr. Frenshu, have some type of letter of interest, and that position will close on Friday, April 27th, and then the board will make a decision on who will be appointed to that vacancy.
When will we decide that, Josh?
So the decision, the kind of the process after the 27th has a couple of different variables kind of tied to it as far as who's going to be in that position. So then I'll just email you guys out as far as the process that you guys want to do. If you want to do it over an email, and just email me your decision, or if we want to hold a special meeting. Either way, it's fine. And I talked to WASB, if there is someone appointed, that we can do it within the district office. It doesn't have to be a special meeting.
Okay.
So we'll kind of wait and see, and make that decision as far as what process you guys as a board want to take after Friday, April 27th.
Okay. Any questions? Okay. Then we'll move on to our appoint board member to hand out graduation diplomas.
Okay, so it's that time of year, which didn't feel like it a week ago with all the snow, but this weekend felt like it. May 20th, Sunday, May 20th at 2 o'clock is the graduation ceremony, and typically we have a board member present to pass out diplomas. So if there's anybody interested.
Maybe table that till next meeting and
Yep.
see who's all on the board by then.
Yeah, I think if we can't find anybody, I think whoever does the FFA one has to do the graduation.
I wasn't there.
Actually, I think last year one of our board members was gone, and he by de facto got the job.
No, I did it last
Then you
year.
did it last
Did
year.
ya? Must have been the year before.
The year before,
Peter
right?
was the year before. No.
I'll do it if nobody else will. Don't worry, Greg.
We'll hold it till next.
It's not a speech. It's just.
Well, it is a speech. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'll do a speech too.
Only half hour.
It'll be inspiring.
All right, so we're going to table that till next meeting then.
Sounds good.
Next up is the superintendent notes.
Okay. Just a couple things. It is that time of year where it's starting to get busy, but the sports seasons don't have that feel yet, just because there's not a whole, the snow just left us. So
Tomorrow is mid-season, according to
yeah.
Mr. Rosine, should be mid-season.
Yeah, so I'm not even going to go into the sports stuff. I'm just going to hit some of the main things that we had. So last week we had the no teacher in service. We had just a tremendous gal come in with Polk County Health Service and did a presentation on just kind of mental health in the area, and got a lot of feedback from the teaching staff. They did a presentation on what's called ACEs, just kind of different indicators that students have experienced within their life as far as trauma. She was a non-educator, but really presented in a way that was, I think, hit home for a lot of teachers. We had a lot of good feedback saying it was one of the best presentations they've ever heard in an in-service. She did it really in a non-threatening way, and it was just a good in-service overall. So I was very pleased.
Who was the presenter?
Her name is Betsy. I'm sorry,
Biker.
Betsy what?
Betsy Biker.
Okay.
And it was fantastic.
Yep. And I know who she is.
April 20th was supposed to be Service Learning Earth Day, but we've moved that down to the 4th. So we're hoping for good weather in 2 weeks, or in a week, I'm sorry. The FFA banquet on the 21st, which I think I've said this before, but it's always an impressive banquet. The kids, I'm just blown away at how well they present and how they carry themselves, and all of the qualities that they kind of are taught through that program. Is definitely some lifelong qualities that they get out of that. But the banquet itself had a lot of community members that just donated just a tremendous amount of stuff for that, and it's just a well done banquet. Got to see that. Coming up, we have prom on this Saturday, the 28th. So we don't have what many districts had to deal with the cancellations and juggling of prom. That was a lot of on the agenda of my CISA soup meeting. A lot of schools are dealing with the drama of canceling prom, and I think there's some might be some. I think that could cause letters of resignations to happen for superintendents when you cancel a prom. But we're lucky, and hopefully it'll be good weather. Next week we have on the 1st we have senior high parent teacher conferences on Tuesday the 1st. Like I said, on the 4th we have Earth Day rescheduled for that. We also have an individual coming in that's going to be, is the first time we've ever done this, where we're going to be combining the two buildings for a presentation. Sorry to put you on the spot, Mr. Peterson, but do you know his name, the painter?
Paul Ullman.
Paul Ullman is going to be coming in and doing a painting. Kind of like he paints, and I want to pretend like I know exactly what he does. Tells a story and flips the painting, and so looking forward to that. It sounds like it's going to be a neat presentation.
When is that, Josh?
The 4th.
The afternoon of the Earth Day celebration.
And it's going to be over at the elementary building. He's going to be painting over there. And then lastly, on the week of the 7th, we have Staff Appreciation Week. So we'll have some stuff going on each day for staff appreciation for all of our staff in the building, both buildings. Doing a nice job. So that's it.
Nice. Okay, the next up is our future agenda items. Anybody have anything they want to put on the agenda?
Are we gonna have like another retreat to go over some of our goals, or just talk about it, have a longer meeting sometime, or what are your guys' thoughts?
You thinking about having Al back again?
No.
I think later in the fall, maybe, but I think we need
like
to do
some of
some
those
work now.
goals,
Yeah,
right.
we need to do some work before he comes back.
Or we forget.
Yeah.
So that was my question. What everyone thought.
What's your schedule look like, Josh?
When are you guys thinking?
Could we do it during one of the meetings? Maybe
I
we're
think
down
it
to
almost-
one meeting.
Yeah, I think it'd almost be better not to, but that's just my opinion. Well,
I
I don't
just
know
think
that
May's gonna get crazy.
people aren't gonna understand what we're talking
Right.
about. But
Yeah, I don't know if it slows down sometime this summer for you, Josh, or not.
Yeah, I mean, I could throw. What month are you guys thinking?
well, I'm fine with doing it at a regular meeting. meeting later or whatever?
I mean, if we
Just
could
come-
look at those 3 or 4 points that they picked
Right.
out and say, he mentioned some possible goals, can we,
Or do we want to just appoint a couple to do this and a couple to do that and come back and talk about it?
No, I think it'd be good to have
Good,
us
I think
all
it's all
together.
of us. or if we could even stay like an hour after the meeting,
Sure.
the first May meeting, and just say what are some potential for these goals, and,
Sure.
because we're
Yeah,
pushing it
maybe.
off till June, then that's another
Right.
6 weeks away. I'd rather just,
So I'm good with that.
Just tying it to a,
Yeah.
Tie it to a meeting.
yeah, sounds good.
So our only May meeting would be the 14th? Is that what we're?
it's late.
Yep.
And then there's no meeting the fourth Monday, because it's Memorial Day.
Right.
So that'll,
So on the 14th,
let's put on our agenda, and maybe stay after, or put a little board retreat after the meeting.
sounds good.
Good one.
May 9th is CISA programming in Turtle Lake, if anybody can go.
Is that the good one, Nettie?
No.
The one better than the
Well,
new
it's,
school board
it's,
one.
I mean, it's good for, yes, it's better than the new school board training, in my opinion. So if you haven't gone to one, I would, because it's gonna be really a lot about the responsibilities and some guidelines. It's not gonna be anything new for any members that have gone to training before. So for a new person, yes, very valuable.
At 6:30, Josh?
I was just gonna say, what time?
I'll look it up.
Is it
Usually
in- is
something's
it in
at
Spooner?
6:30. It's at Turtle Lake.
Okay.
You get it registered, don't you?
Yep. So it's a responsibility of board members, open meeting, all that.
If anybody would like to go, let me know and we can get you registered. I believe I'm pretty sure it is 6:30.
Okay.
You sent an email out on it.
Yeah.
Roles and responsibilities is the same thing
We
we went to last year. Yeah.
How long do they typically last? Like an hour?
6:30 supper, I think it starts at 7 and maybe goes till 8:15, 8:30.
It was
Okay.
dark when we left.
Yeah. 8:30 probably.
I'll just tell my daughter we'll postpone her birthday to the next day.
Yeah.
Have Aaron bake the cake.
Bring a cake with you.
It's nice to have it close.
It says
Yeah.
7 to 9, so I think it's 6:30 to 9.
9.
Yeah.
Okay. I will go. Unless there's another one that,
That's it, until fall.
okay. Might as well take that.
So I'll get you registered for that then.
Okay.
Christy, I'll see if I can go with you on that way. You could.
Well, I'm coming back from, I'm coming back from
Yeah,
Shell
but we
Lake
could meet you
that
up
day,
there,
so.
and we could powwow about what they're talking about, maybe a little bit too.
Yeah. I'd offer to go too, but we're gonna be in the fields now.
That would be too much powwowing.
I'll see Josh. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay, anything else for future agenda items? All right, then
I'll move to adjourn.
I second.
That was quick. Been properly moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.
My daughter's just